The Dallas Cowboys travel to Denver, have to play in Mile High, and it does not go well for them as the Broncos dispatched them 44-24. Just the Cowboys offered no resistance defensively, and Dak and company were not able to keep up. Dak throws a couple interceptions due to the nature of just having the pressure's on. You basically, it was from early on in that game, it was pretty apparent that the Cowboys were not going to get stops, and it was going to be all in the offense to win a shootout, and they couldn't do so. But y'all's thoughts on this game?
Well said. That was exactly how it went for sure. As soon as Bo throws the interception on either the first play of the game or the second play of the game, and he misses his receiver 7 or 8 yards behind him, and it's just a free interception for the Cowboys. They get inside the goal to gain, and they don't score a touchdown. And as soon as that happened, I thought, okay, it's going to be a long road for Dallas going forward. Denver responded, immediately after that, scores a touchdown. And then Dallas goes 3-and-out, and Denver scores another touchdown. It's 14-3. And it was kind of over at that point, sadly. A surprising game. The X's and O's wise, Denver comes out with Pat Surtain and Riley Moss, and they put Pat Surtain on George Pickens, which I don't think anyone expected coming to the weekend. No one expected even leading up to kickoff. McBride, our Cowboys fan, texted, "Oh, I'll take George Pickens against Riley Moss all day." Well, Riley Moss rarely guarded George Pickens that day, and Pat Surtain did. So they put Surtain on Pickens and then doubled CeeDee Lamb. Both kind of got what they wanted, though. They both had 7 catches and nearly, both, I think, in the 70s in terms of yards. Of course, no touchdowns between the two. A lot of those were kind of short completions, but George Pickens and CD were still great at getting open in space, even against Surtain and Riley Moss. I think that's positive to take away, of course, because the main takeaway from this game has to be that their defense. They need, if they have to decide right now, of course, because the trade deadline's a week from today. Are they buyers or are they sellers?
Yeah.
And if they're buyers, you got to go get some defensive help because they need it.
I don't think that if they're sellers, who would they sell?
They could sell Pickens because they haven't signed him to a long-term contract.
I don't know that they
after
even
just
if
trading for him in the offseason, they could sell Javonte Williams because they have the
someone,
rookie.
Yeah, that's
Jake
someone they could
Blue.
sell. But once again, I don't think that would command
They
a
could
whole
sell
lot.
their corners in Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs.
Yeah. I wouldn't see them selling Pickens just because.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Re-sign him and then use draft capital, the first rounders that you got for Parsons, and go. That's how you go get the defensive help, and use the picks there, get defensive help on cheaper contracts. I don't think there's any point. If you trade Pickens, you're going to have so much money available. I mean, I guess you could try and go get someone defensive in free agency, but if you do that, then your offense becomes Dak and CD and Ferguson, I guess. But
that's something we got to address too. Dak does not recognize National Tight Ends Day as a holiday, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because 0 catches for Jake Ferguson on his day.
Yeah.
Is pretty frustrating.
He had 1 target the entire game. I, as a Ferguson owner, didn't like that, of course, especially with National Tight End Day. But it was not unexpected. His target share is nearly identical to what it was when CeeDee Lamb was playing at the beginning of the year. So it was just kind of expected it to be a drawback to some degree. I, of course, didn't expect him to have 1 target. He did not play a lot of snaps. Dallas rotated 4 tight ends, and they rotated 2 to 3, Span Ford, Schoonmaker, and then they had the other tight end as well. Well, he didn't catch a pass, so
Name's not popping up.
He's not good enough, of course. But they were using them in the run game a ton, and so anytime they would, which I don't know if it really mattered, but when you do stuff like that, you make it so obvious when you're running and throwing the football. When Jake Ferguson was not on the field, they were running the football. When they had Span Ford on the field, they were running the football. When Ferguson's on the field, they're throwing the football. Now, part of that is like they were doing that in obvious passing situations and obvious running situations, but for an offense that has been as dynamic as that, it's just you can't make it that obvious at times when certain play calls are going to happen. And they kind of did that, and I'm sure that helped Denver to some variety. They were able to shut down Javonte Williams for the most part. He has 13 carries for 41 yards. A guy who was, I think, second in the league in rushing yards coming into the game behind Jonathan Taylor, if I'm not mistaken. So that was concerning, but I completely mark it up as they're playing an elite defense, and I still think like the takeaway is, what do you do in this trade deadline for Dallas at least? Who do you go after? Do you go after another receiver? Just have
Cincinnati Bengals approach.
I mean,
Chris Olave from New Orleans.
The problem is we're trying to predict the moves of a madman and Jerry Joe.
Well said.
I don't think there's no reason for them to trade Pickens, and I don't think so because Jerry Jones clearly likes the guy, and he makes decisions with his heart too much is probably one of his biggest issues. So I doubt that'd be someone he would trade, but you never know. I mean, he's been pretty vocal. They need a couple defensive players. I wonder why they need a couple defensive players, but they do. They should sit, in my opinion, because
sell. You're saying
sell on the fringes, and then try and
just keep what they have. You're saying,
yeah. I mean, and you can if you have someone that's expiring contract, isn't really a huge contributor, and you don't think you're going to re-sign them next year. So, I don't know the ins and outs of their roster enough to know like who all that would be, but it's pretty clear that I think that's what they should do, and then that's how you kind of sell the vision forward of like, okay, now we have these 2 first-round draft picks next year. We're going to try and hit on defensive playmakers on those and come back next year. We have a little bit of extra money. A lot of that's probably going to go to Pickens, but then we'll even have a little more on top of that we can go sign somebody else to help as well. You're not going to like, they could go be sellers but not fire sell, I guess is what I'm saying.
You could sell Joe Milton.
You could.
Milton almost had a perfect passer rating.
Yeah, he had a great
on Sunday.
Great game. 4
great
passes.
Drive.
3 passes,
58 yards at the touchdown to Kevontae Turpin.
How fast is Joe Milton?
How fast is he?
Yeah.
Not much faster than Dak, I guess.
Gotcha.
He's got a heck of an arm, though. He's got a much stronger arm than Dak, I can tell you that much.
He's one of the strongest arms in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the combine record for fastest throw. He runs a 4.55.
Okay, so he's not slow.
Not at all.
I'm just like, you can we get a little Taysom Hilly with Joe Milton.
I don't think so.
6'5", 246, runs a 4.55.
I'm not gonna with the playmakers that they have, if we're gonna put Joe Milton in Taysom Hill situations, that would be diabolical.
Well, you just trade him to someone that wants to use him that way.
Okay. I don't
Would
think
the Saints take him?
No, we don't
Are
want
you sure?
Joe Milton. No, we don't want Joe Milton.
Taysom Hill's getting kind of old.
I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, you need
Kellen
that
Moore doesn't use Taysom
changing
Hill
in the
like
guard
that anymore.
Yeah, because it's pointless.
So maybe the Broncos want him.
No. I
Gimmick.
doubt that as well.
No one wants a gimmick player. It is. I do love the
likes Bo
reports
Nix too
talking
much.
about Broncos looking to target tight end in the upcoming draft. Really well done by them to Evan Ingram has worked out
Wait, they
well
just
for
said
them.
they plan on targeting tight ends?
It's like reports.
Diabolical.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's going to draft weapons regardless. That's how
Yeah.
Sean Payton's going to work at least.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah,
inbound.
That would be. That'd be not too bad. Bo Nix kind of cooks. Of course, they're playing the Cowboys defense, so how much can you take away from that? But he did throw 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. J.K. Dobbins ran the ball well. R.J. Harvey had his ascension game, you could maybe claim, but also his touchdowns weren't really that much of high-effort plays from R.J. Harvey as much as they were low-effort plays from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. I think the one thing that J.K. Dobbins is he did average like 7.5 yards a carry, and it wasn't like it was boosted by like a 60 or 70-yard carry. His longest carry of the day was 25 yards. So,
Yes.
I mean, he was consistently picking up like 6, 10, 15 yards. And like you said, that is low effort by the Cowboys secondary, Cowboys defense in general. But
Low talent as well.
still just getting gashed
Very
by
much low talent.
the Broncos running back duo. And that is a big I believe I have RJ Harvey in at least 1 or 2 leagues. So I feel like the touch gap has gotten narrower and narrower every week after a lot of question marks after they drafted Harvey in the second round.
Yes.
Second round, and it started out feeling like they were not going to utilize him at all. And I feel like he's consistently becoming more and more involved in the offense.
Sure.
So that'll be something interesting to see. Although I do say that, and now I'm looking back, and over the last 3 weeks, he had 4 touches, or 4 carries, 2 carries, and 4 carries. So
I feel like this week he got some run because the offense was chilling and Sean Payton knew it.
Yeah.
And he really had the one long run. He finished with 7 carries for 46 yards and a long of 40 yards.
Yeah.
So
last one on this, with this last AFC West team we have to talk about in the 3 games. Broncos are 6-2, Chargers 5-3, Chiefs 5-3. Now, Sanders, who do you think is winning the division?
Kansas City.
Okay.
I actually was thinking about this before the show about having that conversation of like, I was low on the Chiefs coming into the season, and then I feel like they came out, and JP, I especially remember you being like, the Chiefs are broken, like getting Rashee Rice back is not going to fix him or something. And I was like, I feel like y'all like have been more like this, and I've just been like, I thought they were going to be bad, but I don't think they're that bad. I don't think they're broken. And I don't think that what we've seen from them since Rashee Rice has come back, that offense has been very good, albeit it's been against the Raiders and now
The Commanders.
the Commanders.
known great offense.
Defense, yeah.
Yeah. And the known great offense as well.
Yeah, true. And so but we've used that exact same argument for the Colts to say, look at how the Colts have just absolutely walloped these teams, poor teams that they've played. They've done exactly what they needed to do. I feel like the Chiefs are doing that right now. They're doing exactly what you would expect a really good team to do against bad teams.
Agreed. But for me, the pushback on them is I would pick them to win the division right now. But they still have shown in big games big mistakes. The Eagles game, Kelsey dropping the ball. The Jaguars game, Mahomes throwing the pick 6. This is a team. In the Chargers game, they were just not great offensively. You have a miscommunication. You end up hurting one of your own players on the first drive. And Chris Jones was not great in multiple of those games. I've seen penalties has been a huge problem. I've seen that in big moments. So I love what they're doing offensively, and I have said they are unstoppable offensively. But they did it against the Raiders and the Commanders. Both of those teams are probably not going to be playoff teams. I know you bring up the Colts and say that, but I mean the Colts have done it for 7 weeks. Their worst offensive outing is 20 points against the Rams, a game that they scored 27 points because Adonai Mitchell fumbles the ball out of the end zone.
The Chiefs' worst offensive performance is also 20 points.
Agreed.
No, apologies. Sorry, it's 17.
Much worse.
Much worse than 20.
Colts are averaging, I think, 34 points a game as well. I've seen the Colts do it also in big games against the Broncos, the Rams, and the Chargers. They're 2-1 in those 3 games against teams that were in the playoffs last year and would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. They're 2-1 in those games, and they've controlled the Chargers game pretty much throughout the entirety of it. They were in control of the Broncos game. They get a lucky break that goes their way, and they lost themselves the Rams game as much more than the Rams won that game. And in the Chiefs' case, in their games against teams that would be in the playoffs, if the season ended today, they're 1-2. They have the loss to the Chargers, the loss to the Eagles, and the win over the Lions on Sunday Night Football. 3 weeks ago, albeit without Rashee Rice in those moments. So these next 4 weeks, I think, is what proves whether or not they can win the division, and that is at Bills, bye week, at Broncos, Colts, and then the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Dallas. Those are 4 games against, for sure, 3 teams that are going to be in the postseason, and then Dallas is a team that will be right there on the edge as we get down the stretch. So I want to see them proven in those games. I think the Colts have. But offensively, I agree. They're doing what they need to do. and I would pick them to still win the AFC West.
Sure.
Who would you pick to win the AFC
The
West
Chiefs.
right now? Okay.
I've been pretty much on that. I don't.
Bold take. No,
Yeah.
not at all. But congrats to the Broncos defeating our glorious Dak Prescott.